United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk called for an investigation into what he called Israel's indiscriminate bombing and chilling of densely populated areas in the Gaza Strip. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro received on Friday afternoon the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Minister Peter Sayertod at the Miraflores Palace in Caracas. The White House confirmed on Friday that the expected meeting between the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and China, Xi Jinping, is scheduled for next Wednesday in San Francisco, California. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Israeli strikes here near several hospitals in northern Gaza early on Friday, as health officials stated tanks have surrounded medical facilities. Several hospitals are among the civilian infrastructure targeting another night of heavy bombardment. Gaza authorities report that troops stuck in Al Shifa Hospital courtyard and the obstetrics department. This is Gaza's largest hospital, so where many are taking shelter due to the relentless attack and the fact that over 50% of housing units have been damaged. Palestinians take the safety road for northern Gaza to southern Gaza. However, Israel attacks them while they are taking the road. From Gaza, our correspondent Noor Harasan has more details of what's happening there in the following report.
The Israeli side always asks Palestinians to take the safety route from northern Gaza to southern Gaza. However, what is really happening on the ground is that several attacks on Palestinian civilians while they are trying to evacuate to southern Gaza. Right now I am inside Shuhada al-Aqsa hospital, and the children that you are seeing here next to me are actually kids that were injured while they were walking in Salah ad-Din Street trying to evacuate northern Gaza to southern Gaza. And we also talked to several women who got injured, and actually her grandchild was killed in this Israeli attack on Palestinians while they were taking the route. Adding to this, the fact that 49% of the Palestinians here killed in the Gaza Strip over the past 4 weeks, or we're entering the second month, are from southern Gaza. So actually southern Gaza is not that safe as the people think, or as the media outside is showing. Now all the Gaza Strip is under Israeli fire, and there is also Israeli incursion in several areas around the Gaza Strip. Noor Harasan, teleSUR.
The war between the Israeli army and the Hamas group is entering its second month. According to figures from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the number of displaced Palestinians from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip exceed 50,000.
Displacements imply uprooting, leaving everything behind, and carrying whatever you can. The road is long and on foot. There is no food. There is no possibility of getting water, and you have to try to do it during the day, with the sunlight.
Suffering, displacement. May God relieve us. We have always been a displaced people. We are oppressed. The first exodus was in 1948, and now the exodus of 2023. An oppressed, humiliated, destroyed, and displaced people. May God give us the victory. We do not want it from anyone, from any Arab country, or from the people. Victory only comes from God. May God give victory to all of us.
Partial or entire families are trying to reach southern Gaza. Along the way, there are children, elderly people, women, disabled people.
It is very difficult. Honestly, it is humiliating. We were humiliated. There is no food, no water, and we're all in danger. We have nothing to do with the organizations. We didn't do anything, but we are all threatened. I don't know what to tell you. The situation is too difficult. May God ease things.
No place in Gaza is safe, not even for the humanitarian workers, where more than 92 of them have died. Gaza is an ongoing conflict, a cemetery for its imprisoned population, desperate, waiting for Allah or the international community to end the conflict.
On Friday, the United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk called for an investigation in what he called Israel's indiscriminate bombing and chilling of these densely populated areas in the Gaza Strip. Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said Israel must end its use of such weapons in the densely populated area home to 2.3 million Palestinians, half of whom have been displaced by the fighting in the last month. Let's take a very short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, received on Friday afternoon the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Foreign Trade of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, at the Miraflores Palace in Caracas. The meeting aims to strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation between Budapest and Caracas, accompanied by the head of Hungary's diplomacy, Laszlo Varandin, Undersecretary of State for the Development of Relations with Southern Countries, Laszlo Salak, Deputy of National Assembly of Hungary and Vice President of the Hungarian Latin American Countries Friendship Group, and Nikos Hamas Pasok, Ambassador of Hungary, resident in Ecuador, concurrent to the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Gil received his Hungarian counterpart Peter Szijjártó as a part of his official visit to the South American country. The Hungarian diplomat stressed the importance of the visit at a time when the world is dominated by increasingly serious conflicts in international politics. Szijjártó also detailed that bilateral trade increased by 68% in 2022 due to the growing demands for Hungarian water purification equipment and medical technology in Venezuela. 57% of Chileans are against the draft of the Magna Carta that will be submitted to referendum on December the 17th, according to a survey conducted by the firm Black and White. The survey was published after President Gabriel Boric received the text draft by the Constitutional Council at the beginning of the week, where the extreme right-wing and conservative Chile Vamos alliance took advantage of their ample majority to impose controversial amendments. Prestigious juries from Europe and the United States make up the International Tribunal against the economic blockade imposed by the United States on Cuba more than 60 years ago. According to the Cuban Institute of Friendship with Peoples, IHAP, the conclave will take place on November the 16th and 17th in Brussels, capital of Belgium. The tribunal has the support of the representative of legal organizations from Spain, Germany, Italy, Greece, Bulgaria and the United States, said the president of the ICAP, Fernando González Jorda, at the press conference held on Thursday.
It is a strategic initiative proposed by at least 5 European deputies who offered their signature so that this could become a strategic initiative in the European Parliament, which, as you know, has had a hostile attitude towards Cuba. I believe that it's also necessary to mention, being this in Europe and being in the European Parliament, what this event and this evidence against the blockade means in terms of the effort to maintain the common European position with respect to Cuba, which the United States is trying to break.
The expected meeting between the President of the U.S., Joe Biden, and China, Xi Jinping, is scheduled for next Wednesday in San Francisco, California, the White House confirmed on Friday. A press release from the press secretary of the executive expressed that the leaders will discuss issues of bilateral relationship between the United States and the People's Republic of China, the continued importance of maintaining open lines of communication and a variety of regional issues and global affairs. On Friday in France, Greenpeace activists gathered near the Eiffel Tower and inflated a giant octopus protest against the presence of Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre at the International One Planet Polar Summit. The One Planet Polar Summit is the first summit dedicated to glaciers and the poles and will be held in Paris until November the 10th to bring together the international scientific community around the ecological crisis. In the meantime, environmental activists react the Norwegian government position that is considered opening its waters to deep sea mining. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. You can subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. From financial break, don't go away. Government. Pedro Sanchez is seeking a new mandate, and for this he has made electoral alliances with different political formations. So let's take a look at the details with our correspondent Andrés Flores.
Pedro
Sánchez is seeking to win his investiture in Spain's Chamber of Deputies for a new term as head of government. To achieve this, he has made a series of political and electoral alliances.
Because right now, Sanchez has the support of Esquerra Republicana, Sumar, the Basque Nationalist Party, the Canary Coalition, and Junts, which has been the most controversial agreement, already with 179 of the 176 seats needed.
The rejection of the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party agreements generated demonstrations all over Spain, some of them very violent and with fascist elements. In the demonstrations we have seen this week against the so-called amnesty law, we could see in Madrid the presence of far-right groups carrying Francoist flags and singing racist slogans.
The real threat we are seeing for the Spanish people as a whole is the growth of the extreme right. Proclamations like the ones we were seeing, very dangerous, such as the Constitution destroyed the nation. At the same time, that leaders of the Popular Party are talking about a coup d'etat, about dictatorship, when they are the heirs of the Franco dictatorship that did cause millions of deaths in Spain.
The Spanish Socialist Workers' Party seeks to position its discourse as a political force for coexistence.
And in the face of all those who want to sow the present and the future with hate, division and tension, we say yes to coexistence, yes to reunion, and yes to continuing to advance along the path of progress that we have already built.
For sociologist Carlos Enrique Farfán, the support obtained by the Socialist Party constitutes an unstable balance.
It's a fine line where if they don't deliver, they're going to lose support very easily. The whole structure will fall apart, but they will also face constant opposition. There is probably also a lot of unhappiness in society in Spain, not so much in Catalonia, not so much in the Basque country, but in the rest of Spain. So I see a very complex mandate, very divided. A lot of concessions, a lot of compromise. The issue of Catalonia will continue to be one of the most relevant issues, and it is one of the main issues for both the PP and Vox.
Protests against the so-called amnesty law could continue and grow stronger as the date for the vote on the investiture draws nearer, and concerns about the presence of right-wing extremists in the demonstrations are the order of the day.
Andrés Flores, teleSUR, Barcelona.
On Friday, Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orbán, stated all kinds of bad decisions are made by the UN leaders about Russia's conflict in Ukraine. The Prime Minister assured that Brussels' leadership currently represents the interests of a global elite and not a people's, noting the Ukraine-Russian conflict is unsustainable, a destroyer of Europe, so it must stop. Orbán encouraged peace in Ukraine and strongly condemns the West for providing arms and economic assistance to Kiev.
The Ukraine-Russian conflict is unsustainable and a destroyer of Europe. It must stop. Therefore, Hungary didn't back arms shipment, and I don't support sending Hungarian taxpayers' money to Ukraine. We are ready to provide humanitarian aid in case any state needs it. We are a Christian country, but financing Ukraine for buying weapons, it would have very serious aftermath for Hungary, as triggering economic bankruptcy. I won't agree on this, and until we have a national government, this will not happen.
The United Nations humanitarian corridor in Sudan, Clement Neylan Salami, qualified as a humanitarian tragedy the situation of civilians in the African country. The statement was made in a press conference offered by the high UN official in New York on Friday.
Sudan's civilians have suffered through almost 7 months of intense conflict and a humanitarian tragedy that only grows bleaker by the day. As the fighting continues to rage, over half of the population, 25 million people, require assistance and protection. More than 6 million people have fled their homes and are displaced inside Sudan or in neighboring countries. The statement of commitments adopted in Jeddah earlier in the week by the parties to the conflict in Sudan marks a moment of truth for the country. We owe it to the people of Sudan to ensure that the promises made by the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces to protect civilians and provide unimpeded humanitarian access are kept.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news sources of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English, I'm from the south of Marrero. Thank you for watching.